Hello everyone, it is Jazz here. Today I'm going to be talking about my to-be read list for 2019. Every single year I love making a to-be read list for the year. It's just like, I don't know, it's just my joy at the beginning of the year. And I like to just pick 30 or a couple more. Like this year it's like 32 books to possibly read during the year, and my goal is usually to get through half of those books because I'm a sane person and I know that I'm going to mid-read occasionally, so I know that I'm not going to make it through possibly all 32 books, but you know, I think I can definitely do half of those. Let me stop babbling and jump into my to-be read list for 2019. First up is my Shakespeare play of the year. Every year I try to read a Shakespeare play that I've never read before to try to make it through as many Shakespeare plays as I can in my lifetime. I don't know if it's going to be ever all of them, but I want to give it a go in my lifetime. And so this year I have decided to read Macbeth. So the real reason why I'm choosing this one is because I already own this in an annotated edition. Previous years I have picked a book that I didn't previously own in a annotated edition, which I need to read the play for the first time, and then I put it off for like the longest time and then end up buying it in November and having to rush to finish it before the end of the year. Yeah, I did that in 2018 as usual, and I just didn't feel like doing that. So I know that I already own this one. I know that it's probably going to be a fairly quick read for me just because I've seen the play at least once, or actually twice, the same production. So I kind of knew like the ins and outs of it, and I can read it at any point during the year because I already own it. So yeah, excited about Macbeth. The next section is all the standalone books that I would like to get to during 2019. So the first one on that list is Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. I hope I'm saying her name right. This is just a classic that I've always wanted to get to. I own like a really old edition of my dad's of it, and I just like kept not reading it. And I just recently bought this really cool covered edition of it in October of 2018. And so I think it is time. It is time for me to get to this classic. I remember really liking the adaptation of it as a kid, so I think I will enjoy the book, and I'm really kind of intrigued to see what the writing style is like. Then I would like to read All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. This was one of the most recent additions to my book collection. I am kind of obsessed with reading Maggie Stiefvater books since I, finally have read like all of the Shiver books, and then I've read all of the Raven Cycle books. So I would like to get to this one, and I'm hoping that I will enjoy it as much as I have enjoyed all her other works. I think I probably will if the story structure is good and the writing style continues to be awesome, because her writing style is bomb. Would like to read Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. It's one of the Neil Gaiman related books that I just can't seem to get around to for whatever reason, but I believe that soon a TV show adaptation of it is coming out, and so I think I would like to read it before that happens. Seems like it's really funny. Like, it just looks hilarious. We're gonna see a heck of a ton of Stephen King books on this list, and the reason for that is I want to make it a goal to read all of the Stephen King books that I haven't read yet in physical copy. So I have quite a few in physical copy that I have read, but quite a few also that I have not read. I mean, it would be great if I could ever in my lifetime make it through like every single Stephen King book, but I don't know that that's really gonna happen, but I think this goal is doable. So 2 of the standalone books of his that I have here are Cell, and then also Hearts in Atlantis. So gonna try to get to both of these. A book that has been on my shelf for a very, very long time is The Story of Edgar Sawtale. I always put this on the bottom shelf in a place where I can't see it, and then I forget about it. And then I notice it every once in a while and go, I bet that book is awesome. My mom has said that the writing style is beautiful, and I love me a beautiful writing style, so I know I'm going to like it maybe for that reason. Another book that my mom seemed to highly enjoy was A Far Rock Away by Charlie Fletcher, so I thought I would also give this a try. It sounds like it's got an awesome lead female character. It also sounded like it had sort of a retelling of fictional characters kind of vibe from what she described, or like a retelling of like historical characters or something like that. I could be totally wrong, but it sounded like super cool. I also really need to tackle some of the many ebooks that I have purchased. I'm going through a super phase where I only want to read physical books, and so it's really been hard for me to tackle the multitude of ebooks that I have purchased. So I want to at least pick 2 for this list that are ebooks and not be tempted to buy them in physical copy, which would defeat the purpose. So the first ebook on this list is Kings and Queens of Rome by Daniel Wallace. This seems like a really interesting story about estranged sisterhood, but also has sort of a weird twist upon that, possibly magical realism-esque as well. So I'm intrigued to see what this is about. The other book that I would like to get to is The Orphan Train by Christina Baker Klein. This sounds like a really cool historical fiction about an older woman who ends up meeting a orphan girl that was on an orphan train, and how they like bond is what it kind of seems from the summary. Then I have another classic book that is The Prince and the Pauper by Mark Twain. I feel shame for never reading a Mark Twain book. Like, it just never seemed to occur. I didn't read Tom Sawyer or Huckleberry Finn or any of it, y'all. I'm a bad reader, and so I need to read a Mark Twain book. I have The Prince and the Pauper. It seems like it will be really awesome, so I'm gonna tackle Mark Twain this year, y'all. I've included Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This is a sort of modern classic that I never thought about reading, but I found this at a library book sale, and I was like, yeah, I should read that, and somebody told me that I would probably enjoy it. I think it's kind of in the dystopian sort of realm of genre, and I haven't read a dystopian in like a super long time, so I might as well read a classic one. I would like to read Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. This is, I've been told, technically part of a series, but it can be read as a standalone, at least according to my friend, and because a lot of people probably do read this as a standalone, I'm just putting it on the standalone list until like further notice. Let me know in the comments. But this is another situation where I just haven't read this famous author and I feel shame. Like, I usually don't feel ashamed, but the Mark Twain thing and the Agatha Christie thing have started to kind of bug me. Like, I feel like I need to read an Agatha Christie. I've been told that it's awesome, so I'm really excited. Next up are all the series type books that I would like to get to. It's another year where I feel like I'm going to start series more than like worry about completing them, but that is okay. So the first book on this list is Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. I probably should make this one a priority because I started it a couple times in 2018 and just didn't finish it for no reason at all. I just didn't finish it, and I have it in ebook, I have it in audiobook, and there's no excuse not to finish it, other than the fact that I just wasn't in the mood, I guess, at the time to read it. I do want to read it because I would like to read the rest of the Shadowhunter books. The next series is one that I do actually want to finally complete because I've only read the first book in the series. Bought this ginormous box set of all the books, not this Christmas, but the Christmas before. And, of course, this is the Lunar Chronicle series. I have read Cinder. I enjoyed it immensely. And then Scarlet was another one that I started and then didn't finish for no apparent reason. So I need to, just read on through the series. But at this point, it's been so long since I've read Cinder that I just need to start at the beginning and read the rest of them. I'm super excited to read this series because I know it's going to be bomb. But I just need to read it all. And I feel bad for buying this box set and not reading one of these books at all in 2018. Pull your life together, Jazz. I do own 2 books in the Bill Hodges trilogy, Mr. Mercedes and Finders Keepers. So gonna try to get to these. I probably will attempt to get to the 3rd one as well, but I don't currently own it, so I didn't put that on the official list. Heard that these are pretty fun reads, so I'm intrigued to read them. I have an actual classic book sort of series book, and that is 20 Years After. That is the 2nd book in the Three Musketeers series by Alexandre Dumas. So, I know that I said that I had some writing style qualms with the Three Musketeers, but I still love the characters, y'all, and I still want to continue the story. And also, one of my good friends, Katrina, bought me this beautiful folio box set of all 3 books, so I feel like I definitely want to read the next book in the series and just continue to honor her fabulous gift. Then I'm going to try out the first book in the Magicians series by Lev Grossman, which is of course called The Magicians. Now, mainly I'm reading this because I adore the show. I love the show so much, and I'm so excited for the next season. But I am course know that it's going to be a little different. I've actually heard that this first book in the series is kind of hard to get into, but I think I'm going to be okay with that, and I kind of at least knew that going in. The main other reason that I want to read these books is because I went through this phase in 2018 where I was just obsessed with watching interviews with Lev Grossman, and I felt weird about it because I had not read a single one of his books. But he's such an intriguing person when he speaks about fiction and fantasy. And so I loved watching his interviews and different things where he would talk. And I just feel obligated to at least read one of his books. And I'm going to read a book by an author that has gradually become one of my faves, even though I haven't read all of his books yet. And that is The Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams. This is the first book in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series. I have heard that this series is a bomb fantasy series, and I trust it because I know Tad Williams' world building is bomb from other books of his that I read. So, super excited about The Dragonbone Chair, and yes, it is happening. Then I would like to read more Ellen Montgomery books that are not the Anne of Green Gables books. Last year, I entered the world of Emily of New Moon and read that series and really enjoyed it immensely. So I want to do that again and continue reading more of Ellen Montgomery's books. So on my list this year are Story Girl and its sequel, The Golden Road. Pick this one because I've been really into rewatching Road to Avonlea, that sort of early 90s-ish, I would say. Maybe late 80s, early 90s-ish television series. I believe Story Girl and The Golden Road include a lot of the characters that the characters in that TV series are based on. So I just kind of want to visit the bookish versions of them, or as close to the bookish versions of those characters, and just see what they're like. I would like to continue my journey and reading the heck a ton of books. They're in the Ross Poldark series by Winston Graham. So I previously have read Ross Poldark, the first book in the series, and now I would like to read Demelza, which is the second book in the series. I really love Demelza in both the books or the one book that I've read and the TV series, so I think that I'm going to really enjoy this one. The last section is, of course, books that I would like to reread in 2019. Now, literally I could make a whole video that's just solely books that I want to reread because I love rereading books so dang much. But I'm not going to do that. I have narrowed down my list to 5 official books that I would love to reread, that I will just be happy if I reread these 5 books. First book on this list is one that I am so excited about, guys. Like, I can't even express my excitement. And it is Pippi Longstocking by Astrid Lindgren. So I have been wanting to reread Pippi Longstocking for I don't know how long, at least 5 years, and I just didn't own it. And I would forget when I went to the library to check it out, because when I was a kid, I would just check it out at the library at school. So I finally own my very own Pippi Longstocking copy, and I'm so excited to reread this story of this wacky, red-haired, crazy brain child. I just love Pippi so much. Now, this book does collect 3 Pippi Longstocking books, so I would probably read all of them, but I'm just kind of like housing this under one book. And I guess the reason for that is I can't remember if I read like the subsequent 2 books in the series, if those would technically be rereads. Because I know that I read the first book multiple times, but I can't remember if I read like the 2 sequels that are included in this. And I think there's even more books in the series than that. So technically it is a series read, but it's also a reread. I would like to attempt to reread The Hugeness That Is It, another Stephen King read on this list. So this is one of those books that I read 16 years ago, and it's one of those books where you remember exactly where you were when you read it and how you felt about the book, but you don't remember the actual elements in the book very well. Like, I recently watched the most recent adaptation of it, and I enjoyed it immensely, but I couldn't compare it to the book because I hadn't read the book in so long that, like, all the little details of this story are gone. Like, I remember nothing or at least not much of it. So I just need to reread it and revisit the characters and like a lot of the events so that I can compare it to the film adaptations if I so wish and choose. I feel like all those sort of special-ish edition books that I have purchased in the last couple of years need to finally be read, because you don't buy them in a fun edition and then not reread them. You know what I mean? So first up, I would like to reread Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman in this illustrated edition. I've been talking about rereading it for a small eternity since I bought this edition, and have not yet reread the book, so probably need to get on that. But I really, really love this book. I believe it was last year that I bought the annotated edition of Anne of Green Gables. You know that I am obsessed with Anne of Green Gables, so I really need to get to reading all these cool annotations in this book. I think it's gonna be super fun. Another annotated edition that I need to read that I've owned for some time is my annotated Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. So I enjoyed this book immensely. I recently read an excerpt from it, so I will link you to that on the screen or down in the description. But I have not yet read this annotated edition in its entirety, and I need to do it because I've had this annotated one forever. I think it's just because the book is kind of long on its own, and then annotated books are extra long because of the annotations, and they take a little longer to get through than like normal, just because you have to stop and read the annotations. So I think that's why I haven't like tackled it, but you know, I'm really dying to reread this, so I'm going to tackle it this year. That is my to-be read list for 2019. I have linked my Goodreads list of the 2019 books that I want to read below, so if you want to know any detailed summaries, because I didn't really do those, I felt like, on some of these books, please check that out, and you can find more detail on these books if they also intrigue you, if you've never read them. And if you have read some of these books, let me know what you thought of them in the comments. That is it for today, my fabulous peeps. Thank you for watching this surely super long video, and I will see you all soon. Bye!